look at a lot of the music that was going on before hip hop, a lot of times the songs never told the stories of the underprivileged or people that are in, you know, poor inner city communities and didn't have a lot of resources around them.
It doesn't necessarily have to be economic struggle. It could be my teacher doesn't think I'm as smart as I know I am. Hip hop gives those kids relief.
Hip hop culture is a thing that organized, you know, our daily activities, that gave us a sense of agency and identity.
Watching Kenyans of Obama shade, it's hard to gaze, then envision a change.
The elements kind of rose together, and you classically talk about, you know, breaking, emceeing, DJing, graffiti writing.
It's filthy.
KRS-One will talk about knowledge. Afrika Bambaataa will talk about overstanding, which is like applied knowledge.
What's crazy about graffiti is that when people were like marking things and like leaving their names, it's similar to hieroglyphics and just cave markings. Like, you want to leave your story to be permanent when you're gone.
All of it is like rebellion. So it's just kind of like there's an establishment. Oh, you see a wall. Well, let me put my vision on it. Who says that we can't mark these walls and create like these murals of hope that people can learn from? And who are artists and art teachers to tell me that doing graffiti is any less of a, you know, work of art than an Andy Warhol?
So for a while, DJs and producers were kind of the same. They would both do the job, but like a DJ will be able to control the mood through the music they play. If they know that a song is getting people to a height of violence and they're getting too riled up, you switch the song. You switch the whole atmosphere.
DJs like DJ Kool Herc would take 2 tracks, and he would take the instrumental breakdowns from them, really mesh them together, make a really long instrumental breakdown, and then people would come out and dance during that. And so like the whole center of the dance would be like kind of like going off like in that break.
Any culture, you look at any culture, there's dance involved in it some way, and dance tells a story. There's some cultures that pray through dance, you know, so breakdancing and just dance in general in hip hop is always something that will be involved.
It's basically like you can take any motion from any given day, like from kicking open a door that everybody's done it. You know, you have one of those push doors and you kick it open with your 1 foot, and you know you feel super powerful. You can transition that into your breaking. I mean, from watching people trip and then stumble and then watching them catch themselves, you could make a move out of it. Seeing, you know, something in nature, it's, for me, like, I would say that it is life. Like, it's a living, breathing organism, and it changes every day, just like life changes every day.
Which is crazy that like there's different voices and different powerful messages from each element that we may not actually recognize.
But it's killing me on the inside. But I'm not here for your pity.
They're not just practices that people engage in self-consciously. That hip-hop constitutes epistemology. It's a philosophy. So when you have someone like KRS-One, he has a song called My Philosophy, and that was a game changer, you know, in terms of the hip-hop world. You know, here's this formerly young black homeless guy from the South Bronx referring to himself as a philosopher. The beginning is like, you know, are you a philosopher? Yes, I think very deeply. So hip-hop is all about that. It's a philosophy. It's a way of thinking about the world, trying to understand in the same way that philosophers do.
And so as we look and think about artists, we need to be reflecting on what is the sort of inspiration and what are the ways of behaving and thinking that allows artists to use the skills of their words or their music or their visual art or their dance to be able to express ideas that are about the human experience, about our social and cultural context, really the expressions about what it is to be human and to live in communities.
It was through hip-hop that I gained access to Malcolm X and that transformative, consciousness that some people can have by reading that story. That was the case with me, and it was a game changer. Up to that point, I was running the streets, I was fighting, getting in trouble, having accidentally found that book, when I was living in essentially what was a crack house. It was only through hearing like Public Enemy, mention like Malcolm X, that I even developed an interest in it. Like, whoa, Chuck D just said Malcolm X. I keep hearing that song. Who is this guy? And I read it, in like 2 sittings. The first book I've ever read cover to cover, and from there it just totally transformed my life at 15 years old. Last year our theme, My Brother's Keeper, the mentoring program in Detroit that I run, with RCH students leading the helm, was hip-hop performance. So they're basically engaging young at-risk kids stuck in the ghettos of Detroit, like I was stuck in the ghettos of New York, and getting them to do something. So everything comes full circle.
I think we need to get back to doing it for the love and doing it for the community. Like, I'm so happy that I teach at community centers and I get to teach around at local schools, high schools to elementary schools.
Working with youth, it's kind of like commanded me to have more of a responsibility of my voice, because I'm realizing that the youth eat it up. They soak in everything, and what they soak in, they're going to use to shape their outlook in life and direct their decisions. So if I know that I have a platform and I have a chance to captivate their attention for a small second and be able to maybe influence the way they look at things, definitely it's really made me be very conscious of that every time I take a pen to paper.
When I use it as a text in my classrooms, that's the way that I'm incorporating it. It's not just a cool teaching tool, an interesting, innovative pedagogical technique, but hip-hop culture is just as important to Marxist theory for me.
I think it can definitely be a platform to speak on the issues that are going on. Aside from this being a chance for people to, have more financial gain, be more financially stable, it's something that can shape and change our world and create a new world for all of us to live in.
That is the very essence of what economic development is today. And so our artists and our art communities, I think, have a lot to share with us in terms of those creative processes, places and environments where that creativity can be stimulated and enhanced, and places in our communities where then this kind of expression is allowed to come forward.
I'm interested in trying to understand not just how it raised students' consciousness, like, wow, I didn't know that before, and then they go and write about it. My question is, well, what do you do with this knowledge after you leave these 4 walls? That's the idea of like teaching a radical perspective, that you want to shake up the foundation of something, even if it's the way that people talk about something.
Don't abuse us, don't beat us, respect your parents. If you don't have a parent, if you are offense, please love those who love you, respect other people.
How does this knowledge about not just black people and the hip-hop community, but how does your understanding of the way that society is structured, read through the lens of the hip-hop community, how does that influence your engagement with the world?